My mom just like kind of like taught me a few lines to say to the haters, which was kind of like funny. Like my first one was like, "Don't talk to me like big drama mamas." That's what my mom told me in 3rd grade.
Welcome back to Heart and Soul, the show where we're going behind the scenes with the cast of Attaway General Season 2. Now this week's topic is an important one. It's something that you guys deal with all the time, social media and cyberbullying. Now when I was a teen, I basically had a flip phone and I texted using T9 Word and I just hoped that my friends received it. But these days, it's a lot more complicated. Let's see what the cast had to say.
I feel like if you looked at my phone analytics, it'd probably be like 8 hours or something like that, which is crazy. Like, how am I spending 8 hours on my phone? That's so bad. If I'm like not doing anything, I'll just like randomly be in my DMs being like, okay, hey guys, it's me. Like, what do y'all want to do?
Probably spend too much time on it. Like, probably takes up more than half my day.
Probably like 90% of my day on social media. Unfortunately.
Like, if I'm like just bored, I'm like doing nothing, I'm just like, okay, so somebody's live, okay, like let me go respond to comments. I spend a lot of my time on social media. I mean, it's just so easy now. I mean, it's literally designed for you to just like become addicted to it.
I mean, I guess it's reasonable. Like, I have an excuse because I do it. It's like my job, but you know, still.
Most of my day is probably on social media, especially with school. Like, it's not very strict to be in school, so I'm usually just on my phone. I think my screen time is like 13 hours or something. It's terrible.
My whole day is revolved around social media. I always have like brand deals to do or like posts that I have to post, or for the house that I'm in, like house deliverables.
I spend a lot of time on social media. It's kind of how I have made a living and gotten myself out there. I definitely appreciate it, all it's done for me, so spending just even more time on it is honestly not that big of a deal to me. It sometimes keeps me unfocused from school, but that's okay.
I'm gonna say YouTube. I mean, most people are like, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat. Because I tend to just go on tangents where I'm watching videos for like 3 hours, and I'm just like, whoa. Like, I'll never scroll on TikTok for 3 hours.
I spend most of my time on like TikTok, Instagram, but also Pinterest. Like, I love making Pinterest boards.
I'm definitely on TikTok the most, yeah. I think social media is great for connecting with other people and just seeing how much good there is in the world, because there's a lot of videos that just show like acts of kindness and reminds us that we need to be actively participating in those.
You could have so much fun with your friends and make new friends. I've definitely made lots of new friends.
It's definitely a platform for people to create and make things, and there's definitely the upside of like being able to connect with other people that you normally won't. I have a friend, he's in school in Ohio right now, and so I would have probably never met him, probably wouldn't ever talk to him, literally talk to him all the time, but he lives in Ohio. Like, when am I going to Ohio? Come on.
It does make the world easier to connect, the entire world, because if you wanted to hear news about, say, China, it would take what, like 3-4 days before it got to here at one point. Now it's like instant.
The downside to social media is it's a lot of work, and you have to put the time and effort into it. It kind of takes away from school, but my mom makes sure she's like stays on top of me on doing all my work and everything. Stay in school.
Like, a lot of the comments that some people get are just always negative, and I think we need to stray away from those.
There's like no privacy anymore, you know, cyberbullying, all that stuff. I deal with cyberbullying all the time.
So the impact of social media on Gen Z has been pretty widespread when it comes to cyberbullying. So we've seen a lot of kids feel like they're able to approach and be argumentative with other people that they usually aren't, because they can hide behind that keyboard. They can sit back and say the things that they may not necessarily mean, but just they use that as an outlet.
I used to experience like a lot of hate for like the littlest things. I tried out lip fillers, or I had hair extensions at the time, and it was like, oh, like you've changed. At the end of the day, like I didn't change anything about myself or like my heart or like my intentions or anything like that. Me paying attention to that isn't what's gonna benefit me, so me just keep going and doing what I do and what I feel good doing.
I do like get nasty messages sent to me, but when there's some people out there that say like, I don't let it affect me or whatnot, I mean, that's cool for you, but I'm just like, I'm human. I don't know how I can't not let it affect me, because clearly I read it and it was about me. You know what I mean? It's like, they're not talking about anyone else.
To be honest, I don't really care at all. As I said before, I'm super secure in myself and I've learned to be super confident. So those comments don't bother me because I just look at it like, oh, you're taking time out of your day to comment that. Like, that's on you. Have a good life.
I definitely have like had my fair share of the haters, which I think anyone who goes on social media, there's haters everywhere. It's not even just social media. Like you could go into a store and people are gonna look at you one type of way.
And my mom just like kind of like taught me a few lines to say to the haters, which was kind of like funny. Like my first one was like, don't talk to me like big drama mamas. That's what my mom told me in 3rd grade.
Instagram is not a very good depiction of what actual reality is like for people. Everyone can post their most glamorous photo of what they're doing, but it doesn't show the everyday moments. And so I think that drives a lot of the comparison, which also pushes into some of the bullying. You feel like you need to be better than somebody else.
A lot of the time it's projecting. It's not even really you. It's more stuff that they're dealing with.
That's what I tell myself. It's just like, they don't know the other end of it. I just see them move on. I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, nice.
Honestly, someone who's hating on you could be having a terrible day too, and maybe that's why they're doing it. I kind of just treat everyone with kindness no matter what.
There's a point where you just have to realize, like, is it worth it to let it affect you as much as you know, where it just becomes almost paralyzing. But if anything, I've just learned to just control my reaction to it, because if you think about it, we're all in charge of our emotions and our reactions and how we react to everything in our life. And I can sit here and cry about it, or I can just say, you know what, let me make a matcha and protect my peace, because it's just some nasty little person who's hiding behind a screen.
A lot of the time it's not even true, and like my mom always says, like, don't believe things that aren't even true. Don't get upset over things. Like if someone says something, they're like, oh Rave, you're ugly. Okay, well baby, I'm not ugly, so I hate to tell you, like, what am I? I'm not gonna believe that. Like I'm not gonna let that affect me because it's not even true. So I'm gonna just keep it pushing.
For trying to deal with haters, I mean, is it gonna matter a year from now? If it doesn't matter then, they shouldn't matter now.
Advice, don't take it too deep, especially if you don't know the person. They don't know you, and as long as you know that you're a good person and you're succeeding and you're happy and secure with yourself, then their opinion doesn't matter. Just ignore the hate if you have to. Filter your comments. That's what I did. Live your life and love yourself.
So honestly, if you're just doing what you love every single day, just focus on that and keep on going and pass through the hate comments.
I think I portray myself online as I do as a real person. All the Soy Boys, we try to do that. Yeah, there's no real big change in my personality when you meet me off camera. I'm kind of the exact same.
How do I balance my social media image versus who I am? I think social media image is definitely like a more polished version of me, because obviously like my thing is like spreading the love and spreading the joy and happiness 24/7 all the time, but then again, that's not really human either. So I think it's honestly a battle every day. I don't want to like get too deep there, but it's just like I want to be real and authentic 100% of the time.
So when we see kids build up their brands, build up their image, it creates something that we call cognitive dissonance, where who you say you are, and who you are not the same. And so it can create this tension in yourself where it's hard. You know, you go out and you're trying to interact with the world and you feel like you need to be acting like the person that you're branding yourself as, when you're really kind of someone else underneath.
The videos I was posting that didn't really represent me, I did get a big follower amount. It was more quantity rather than quality. So I feel like now, even though my views are a little bit lower, I feel like it's more quality and I can really connect with the people that are viewing my videos.
Be yourself. Don't try to be anyone else, because what ends up happening is you're like, oh well, everyone really likes this person, so let me be like them. There's already that person, so they're not going to follow you because you're like somebody else. Most of the time, like, you have to be slightly different, or you have to have your own personality. And so when you're yourself, a lot of people tend to be like, oh wait, like I relate to that, I relate to this person, I relate to all these new things that you're doing, and so people end up really liking that.
I'd say just remember your true self, and like if you're happy with who you are and like, you know, what you're doing, then that's all that really matters, because in the end of the day, your only true friend is yourself and your family.
Make sure this is what you want to do and this is what you love to do, because it takes a lot of hard work and a lot of time out of your day. Second, I would say is, you know, create the content that you want to create and that someone else would also love, because you'll definitely see it in the views and likes. And do not pay attention to how many likes or views you get.
The teenage years are definitely a formative time period in kids' lives, and it's important for them to explore and, you know, find new parts of their personality. So I definitely don't want to discourage anybody from doing that. I just think it's important at the end of the day to remember who you are. Hanging out by yourself, it's important to be happy with who you are and not who you're selling yourself or branding yourself as for others to see.
Next week on Heart and Soul, are you guys hungry? Cause I sure am. We're gonna be talking all things nutrition and wellness, so stay tuned.